There are other ways that users might be coming into your website and interacting with it. So we saw how we can have event listeners to various elements on our page whenever a user clicks. Also whenever they're interacting with forms. So we saw that whenever we've got this happening, we can create some interaction within those form fields. So other ways that users can interact with your web page. So we just saw that one way is that the user can resize the size of your window or the size of your document. So sometimes this is useful information to pick up. So let's open up our editor and add that in, that we're going to add an event listener for the resize of the window. So this is the Windows object that we're going to use. So window, and specifying that this is window that we're using, and we're going to listen for resize of that window and fire off a function whenever it gets resized. So this is the contents of our function. So whenever it gets resized, we're going to trigger this function. So let's output something. Let's put some information within output 1 and output 2 and have those update as the user resizes the window, so that we can actually see that something is happening, that we're triggering off something within our jQuery. So output 1 and set our HTML, and we can use the Windows object as well within this one to pick up the width. So window width is equal to, and then here is where we use that window object again. So within that same format, we'll do $, selecting window, and we're going to use the method of width. And so what this is going to do is this is going to pick up the width of the current window. So let's try this out, and it's going to output it within that area. So now whenever we're resizing, we see that we've got the window width, and of course I need to zoom it back to 100% so that it actually matches with the numbers that we've got there when I'm resizing. So I just make it bigger so it's more visible, and then of course it makes the pixel width of the window much less than the actual represented width. So also I want to show you to cover off the document. The document is going to be very similar to what we just did with the window object, where instead of window width, we're going to update this to document width. So document width. So the same way, and we're going to output it there. And you're going to see that it should be actually the same values. And so the document is within the window, so the window is the exterior container, document is within it. So sometimes they do vary in widths, but for the most part you're going to see that they're the same. So another way that a user can interact with your web page is they might scroll down on different sections of your website. So see over here we've got a number of sections and there's quite a bit of scrolling. So this would be typical for a one-page website where we've got quite a bit of scrolling to get to see all the different sections of the website. And we can actually utilize the scrolling and make jQuery pick up when the user is actually scrolling the website or the window itself. So this is again using that window object. And instead of resize, this time it's going to be scroll. So that's the event that we're listening for, and whenever the user triggers off this scrolling, then we fire off the content within the event. So we also have some additional information that we can pick up. So let's just console log out the window information. So whenever the user scrolls, we get all of this window information. So this is everything to do with the window, but we only want a particular value here within this window content. So you can see there's really just a lot of stuff, and this is essentially, this is the DOM, so available within JavaScript as well, and it's just jQuery. This was actually output via JavaScript from the console log and just outputting the Windows object. So now we're just looking for a value to pick up to position where we're located. So we've got our offset, X page, Y page offset, we've got our height, our width, and so on. And we've got some other values here as well. So we've got a scroll Y, which will actually tell us where we're scrolled Y to. And if we had an X scroll over here, we could tell that as well. So X is at 0 and Y is at 164. So that looks like a pretty good value to pick up and update within that output area. So let's open up our editor and add that value into there. So I'm going to just comment that out for a second there and update the inner HTML of output with scroll position, and the scroll position of the window. So we don't need to specify it this way because this is just regular JavaScript. So we're not doing anything specific with jQuery, and this is how we can use JavaScript and jQuery working well hand in hand. We can specify the scroll position. So let's check this out and refresh it. So now we can see that scroll position is changing, but it's sitting there at the top. So that maybe we can update the styling really quickly of that output field in order to get it fixed position so that we can have it sitting on top of the other content as we scroll down. So I'll do fixed position, top 0, left 0, and maybe also a background color so that we can see that output. So let's refresh it now. So now we've got the scroll position. We see that it's updating as we're scrolling down. We're getting the value, and this is the value of where the scroller is, and this is going to really help us out when we're trying to determine what part of our website the users are looking at. In the next lesson, we're going to look deeper into jQuery, and we're going to look how we can traverse through jQuery, selecting out various elements and picking up these HTML elements, and then of course we can utilize them with the various methods that are available within jQuery. So that's coming up in the next lesson.